Magic.
Can you hear me?
I can barely.
I can't hear you.
You got sound okay, Miss Mendonça?
I can hear you great. Are you still at work, Brian?
Yes, ma'am.
My baseline was a booger.
Try not to leave before it's 5:30 or so, because man.
I had it all down to one lane.
For construction?
They're repaving down toward near the
Okay, I can't hear anything, so I'm trying to work on my audio.
Yeah, you're very faint. She can't hear me, so sorry.
No, it's down there where that Arizona Grand.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're paving down there.
Okay, I can hear now. Sorry.
Yeah, we hear you now too better.
Victoria, we had the best interview today.
Yeah, she was great.
Oh, good.
She accepted.
Oh, I'm so happy. Yay, that's for science, so we're good.
She's
Yep.
amazing. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, she was different. You're talking about differentiating when it wasn't like her answers were amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Unprompted.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a heads up, Rachel's told me that we've been having some Wi-Fi issues all day, so I'm gonna do my best. I've rebooted the modem a couple times.
Get it out of your system. Come on.
So we just
I'm on
need
my
one
husband's
more for
computer.
quorum.
Sorry.
There we go. Wow, that is an absolute accurate theme or majoji or what is it? What do you call that? Man, Mrs. Baker, that is a almost perfect you. Your cart that what, I don't know what you call that thing, but it's amazing.
It was done by an actual artist in comparison to an actual photo. So, hi everyone.
Hi.
All right, I'm going to start recording. Mr. Bryce will not be able to join us. He is flying back from Boston, so he was shaky on being able to be here, but I've reviewed it. We can drive on.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. I think I got knocked off there for a second. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Okay. Okay, well, we will call the meeting. Do we have I guess we'll have to see if we have quorum here to verify quorum. I know that Mrs. Hobesh is en route, I believe, or she'll be on the phone.
I think we'll have quorum because we're all here and minus one, so I think that's quorum.
2.
I think we're -2. Oh, there's Mr. Okay, I didn't see Dr. Tejan in. Okay.
But you're still -2. But that's still quorum, right? Yeah.
It's still a quorum, yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, yeah.
So we'll do a roll call.
I can do that for you, Miss
Okay,
Miss
thank you.
Garrison. All right. Dr. Windsor present. Dr. Tejan.
Here.
Mrs. Mendonça.
Present.
Mrs. Baker.
Present.
And Miss Garrison Jones.
Present.
Excellent. Absent for the moment is Mrs. Hobesh. And the other person was never all the way onboarded.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we can move on to item 2, a discussion and a vote to approve the previous minutes. If everyone had a chance to review the minutes.
Does anyone need me to share it on the screen?
I have a question about the minutes, so I don't know if it matters. Has Miss Cox, has she removed herself from the board?
She has.
Because it's showing her as being absent on all these, so I don't know if that needs to
Oh.
be amended.
Hmm. I think we can leave that for now, and probably for sake of consistency, say that Mrs. Cox is out. I move to approve the minutes of June 10th, 2024 as written.
I'll second.
All in favor indicate by yes.
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 And just to clarify, Dr. Windsor, did you say that we will count Mrs. Cox absent?
Yeah, we will. Yes, yes. I'll write her down there. She's absent. And
Okay. And so with that, we can move on to the next item. Sorry, I'm multitasking here. I've got 2 different screens up. So we will have our public hearing and board discussion or vote for the adopted budget for fiscal year 2025.
did that
We received
pop
the
up?
adopted budget. Yep. Can you make it bigger?
Something wonky's happening here. Oh, I know what happened. Is that bigger?
Not yet. A little bit.
Okay, bear with me. Stop sharing. Definitely need a better driver of this thing, but I got it. Better? Is that better?
Not really, but I know I have it in front of me. I don't know if everybody has it open.
That better?
Oh,
I can see that.
now it's really big. There you go. Yeah. That works.
Starting to get fired.
So if everybody has had a chance to look over, I don't know if there's any discussion that needs to happen, but we need to either adopt or deny the proposed budget for fiscal year 2025.
One of the things I want to make sure is, I looked at it earlier, but I just want to make sure everything got changed here because that was some of the things that were happening. Yeah, that looks all correct.
Mhm.
Everything
Okay.
else stayed pretty much
Everything
the
is the
same from the other day.
Well, I would move to adopt the proposed budget for fiscal year 2025.
I'll second.
Sorry, quick point of order. Mrs. Jones, I don't think you can
Okay,
move for anything, but you can entertain a motion.
I can entertain a motion.
So moved.
All right, roll call vote. Dr. Windsor, yes.
I think Dr. Windsor, I think we still need a second then.
I think Ms. Mendoza did a second,
Okay.
right? Ms. Mendoza, you second,
Yes,
right?
uh-huh.
Very good. Dr. Windsor, yes. Dr. Tejan,
Yes.
Mrs. Mendoza,
Yes.
Mrs. Baker,
Yes.
and Ms. Garrison Jones.
Yes.
Unanimous, approved. Okay. That was 3.
Okay, so the budget has been adopted. So moving on to item 4,
Can I
discussion
ask
and
a
a vote.
question real
I'm
quick,
sorry.
Ms. Garrison? Does this have to be signed, Dr. Windsor?
Yes, same procedure. I'll go ahead and just type it all in, and in the morning we can take care of that with you and Mrs. Jones.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay. Let me see if I can share my screen. You want, Mr. Gilmer, do you want the PowerPoint first?
I can share my screen. I've got the PowerPoint pulled up.
Do you have
That's
authority
okay.
to share your screen?
All right, thank you. Oh, I do not have authority. It says host disabled. You can share it if you want. That makes it
No,
easy.
I'll let you run. I'm going to make you co-host for now.
Okay.
I got to take it away in a minute. Here we
All
go
right.
ahead.
All right. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
All right,
I
perfect. So this is a recap of our presentation that we shared on the 29th of April. We had me, along with the Leadership Council, had asked for a change to the Liberal Arts Academy dress code for Senior Academy. Senior Academy only, grades 9 through 12. Grades 7 and 8 would continue to have the normal dress code, khakis or black pants, Paideia polos. Okay. All right, that's the Leadership Council motto or mission statement. Leadership Council, they will advocate for senior or for scholar opinions and concerns with as much understanding as possible. They'll strive to be the voice of the high school scholars and teachers with positive intent. Their motives were to change the dress code so the students feel more comfortable at school, allowing students to find their clothes easier and express themselves through clothing, and allowing the school to look more professional while the students are still comfortable. The current dress code is a Paideia collared shirt with logo, khaki, black pants, slacks or jeans, no rips or bedazzlement on the jeans, no tights, closed-toed shoes, or plain hoodies. I'm sorry, they do allow plain hoodies and closed-toed shoes for clarification. All right. The proposal is allowing a smart casual or business casual clothing, allowing hoodies with a college logo, any colored jeans, allowing small school appropriate logos on hoodies like Nike, Adidas, or other brands, and expanding the dress code but not getting rid of it. So that would still allow any scholar who still wants to wear the traditional Paideia polo and khaki or black pants as a normal dress code for what they were used to, they can still use that as well. This is just giving them more options or more opportunities for their dress code.
Mr. Gilmore, I found it interesting that when you and your students did the test pilot, there was a bunch that just stayed in the polos. It was interesting.
There were probably about 50 to 60% of the kids that still stayed in their Paideia polos in normal dress code. When I asked them about it, they said some of them were just, they didn't have the time to go get the new clothes. They were going to get them over the summer, which is usually when they do it. Some of the kids said they were just already comfortable with it. It's what they already had. But seeing the kids that did change and change to the different dress code, I personally, I thought it was great to see them kind of expressing themselves through their clothes. There was a time or two, I could probably count on one hand in the entire quarter, where they came in a t-shirt. And I told them, hey, you can't wear that again. And there was never any back talk. There was never any issues. It was okay, no problem. And I didn't see it again. So they were very respectful. They understood that, we're all learning with the new dress code and what that looks like. And again, they were all very respectful about it. But those are some examples of what the jeans would look like. You've got your ASU hoodie right there, and then lighter color jeans. Again, it's just putting it in the eyes of the teenagers. It is difficult from time to time to find black jeans or black khakis. Is it doable? Yeah, absolutely. They can find it, but it just does become more difficult. And some of them may not have the funds to purchase additional clothes on top of the clothes that they would normally wear. So it's, again, just financially makes it a little bit easier for them as well.
Mr. Gilmore, just a question.
Yeah,
Is this
absolutely.
the same? Was there any changes in this presentation from a few months ago, or this is the same,
This
a
is the
recap
same
of the
presentation.
same? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
this is a recap of the same presentation.
Okay.
So, would you prefer I just kind of skip to the end since we've gone through it, or should we go through the presentation?
That is not my call, but for the chair to say, I mean, I think we have seen it, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we have seen it, Mr. Gilmer, and
Okay.
I think everyone's familiar with what the students were asking for.
Okay.
And I'm personally okay with just going to the proposal.
Okay,
If there's
perfect.
any discussion, I don't know if that's okay to do.
It is okay, yeah.
Okay.
All right, let me get the proposal pulled up. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. Dr. Windsor, do you happen to have the proposal pulled up? I thought I had it.
Was it the letter or the
It was the letter that I sent you.
Yes, I do.
Perfect. If you want to share it, I'll relinquish my co-host duties and let you share it.
Nice.
Thank you.
Make sure I got the right one. There it is right there. Is it there?
Yes, that's the one. So I wrote this up earlier this summer. I, along with our Senior Academy Leadership Council, am seeking a change to our Senior Academy dress code effective 8/1, which is the first day of school. After meeting with Senior Academy Leadership Council, I asked for their input. Dress code was with a resounding request for change. I feel it is important for our scholars to have input in some policies in the school, so we discussed the depth and created a presentation for the new dress code, which is what we just went through. Presented the dress code at the board meeting on 4/29, met with a suggestion to a trial dress code for the remainder of the school year. The kids jumped on it. They had the new dress code flyers and everything else printed out, I think, within about 2 days. So they were very excited about it. We created the flyer, which was attached. That was also in the attachments in the email for the agenda for today. That was distributed to scholars for the trial period, and there were some concerns that were brought up with the meeting that we can address today. Dress code noncompliance. Again, scholars, they needed to be reminded once or twice that, it was out of dress code. I think we had maybe 3 to 4 t-shirts, just plain t-shirts that were worn. They weren't even offensive in any way. It was just a plain t-shirt. And I think once or twice a scholar came in sweatpants. But again, we told them, hey, I know we're all new, we're all learning this, but that's unfortunately something that we can't wear anymore. They were very respectful about it, and it did not happen again. The dress code bullying, that was also brought up, I believe, by Ms. Hobesh about somebody or the fear of people not having the money to afford certain brands. From what I saw, there was absolutely none of that. It was not brought to my attention by anybody, and the leadership council, I do trust them that if that was a concern, they would have brought that to my attention. But it was not brought to my attention. Nobody said anything about someone was picking on them for the clothes that they either could or could not afford. But at this point, I'm asking if we are able to move our dress code or change our dress code for Senior Academy to a smart casual dress code. Thank you, Dr. Windsor.
You're welcome.
I move that we adopt the recommendation from the PLA, is it Senior Academy, to adopt the updated dress code.
A second.
And I
Could you
think
say that again, Miss Baker? You said it very
I don't know
well.
if I have the right words.
Miss Baker, move to.
I move to adopt the recommendation from the PLA Senior Academy for the new updated dress code.
Got it. Thank you. All right. Dr. Windsor, yes. Dr. Tejan,
Yes.
Mrs. Mendonça,
Yes.
Mrs. Baker,
Yes.
Mrs. Jones.
yes.
Did I miss anybody? Okay. All right. Passes unanimous.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Gilmer. I love
Thank
how
you,
you're
Mr.
leading those
Gilmer.
guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation as well, Mr. Gilmer.
Please
Absolutely.
congratulate your leadership team also.
I will. They'll be very excited and happy to hear about it. So thank you.
And I liked how Ms. Baker put it because I wanted to memorialize PLA Senior Academy in the motion.
Okay,
All right.
that
Item. Oh, I'm
takes
sorry.
us to item 5, a discussion and a vote on the school policies, the school safety policy, the cell phone policy, and the financial policies and procedures guidebook, and the school safety policy.
I apologize. 1 and 4 are the same
Yes.
item, so we only have to do with one. So let's go with the updated school safety policy. Make sure I got that right here. So little. Is this the right one? Yeah. Okay. Background. We approved this last February, and then the guidance from the Department of Education came back down to include hazing. So this paragraph here, prohibition on hazing, is the only new one that was required by Department of Education.
I don't think you're sharing the right doc if you want it to be sharing.
Which one am I? What does it
This
say?
is-
Does
This-
it say notice of public meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just a notice for the
What's
public
of the meeting? I don't know if that's what you wanted.
It was not the one I wanted to share. Thank
Okay.
you. Let's see which one this is. Okay, so let's see if I get the right one up. Oh, such little print. Okay, is this school safety policy?
Yes.
Thank you, Mrs. Baker. All right. So we approved this last February. The Department of Education came back with the requirement to have a prohibition on hazing. So this is the only new part that they required. Given the some of the things that Mr. Gilmer, myself, and Miss Johnson have had to deal with over the last 2 years, I reached out to our attorneys and asked them to craft a parent behavioral expectations paragraph. So those are two things that to look at that are different.
Well, I'm gonna ask a stupid question.
Ask it.
Is there a definition of what they consider hazing? Or is it just a broad term?
I think as defined in ARS 152301 is the long definition. Mr. Teacher, Dr. Teacher probably have a better answer in Title IX.
Well, I don't have the statute in front of
Come
me.
on.
I think if it's not long, let me just pull it up real quick. 'Cause
Okay.
I wonder if we might be better off just stating. Subsection C, paragraph 2. Actually, so the statute says our policy needs to include a definition of hazing. Ugh, and hazing means an act in violation of section 13.12.15 or 13.12.16.
This came from Lynn Adams at Osborne Maladon.
Oh, did she say we can just state the?
As defined in. Yeah, she's
Okay.
the one that sent this to us.
Well, she would know
Is it
best
pretty long?
what the requirement is. I'm going to drop in the chat what the definition of hazing is according to the state.
Okay. Actually, no, don't do that. Because
Okay.
we can't have, it's got to be open meeting law. How about if I unshare and you share? Yeah.
Okay. I have.
1 second. Make co-host. There you go. There you go. Yeah. No chatting at a board meeting.
Actually, I don't know if I can hide my bar here. There we go. Okay. On confidentiality requirements. Let's see here. Okay, so
Oof.
So just real quick, this is the statute that's referenced in the policy. If you can see in 152301A, every
So
public
subsection C, paragraph 2.
Yeah, you have to include a definition of hazing. So then C2, hazing means an act in violation of the criminal statutes 13, 12, 15, or 12, 16. So then let me share. Where did that go? Oh, it looks like just a second here. Hazing classification. So then here's the actual definition. Person commits hazing by intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly, et cetera, et cetera. Can everyone read that? You want me to get it bigger?
There you go. That's good, right? For me, anyway.
What's that?
Yes. Oh, wow. I don't know. pretty
Can we
explicit.
just go with the part in A?
Yeah, it's just that A has
Following.
Yeah,
1 through 6 are all,
I
But it's
think
saying we can give our own definition. I mean, we have to give a definition so we could come up with a
I think the reason
definition.
why it says as defined in ARS 152301 is that it defines it. It's a series of definitions, sort of, I think.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, the document is going to be very long. So it tells us where the definition will be found in the actual, I don't know, is this a statute? In the statute, right?
Yes. Maybe what I need to do, Ben or Dr. Tejan, is put some hyperlinks in this so that if somebody wanted to dig down through, they have it readily available. Or just leave it like Lynn Adams and our attorneys wrote it.
yeah, I don't, now that I've looked at it, I would not support putting the language of the statute in the policy. I'm going back now to 2015-2301. So it's complicated, but I think hazing means an act in, but so 13, 12, 15 is hazing, and then 12, 16 is aiding or abetting hazing.
Mhm.
So if you're going to reference the statutes and hyperlink them, Dr. Windsor, I wonder if the language in the policy should say as defined in ARS sections 13, 12, 15. And then we have aiding and abetting. Would be
Which is
13.
also in here as well, isn't it?
That's your second sentence in the current
There we go.
policy. So then you would state 13-1216 with a hyperlink in that sentence.
So the hyperlink's going to take them to these places. What's your comfort level with that?
I think that is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Arizona, so this is AZ. Can you see my highlighting? So this is the
Yeah.
actual Arizona legislature's link to the statute. So I would actually say this is the only appropriate hyperlink that you could put into the policy because it's the official definition.
That one plus the
It would be this one.
just that one.
This one would be linked in the first sentence for hazing.
1215. Oh, and then the 1216 would
Yeah,
be
so just for completeness, let's look at that one too. So then this is 13, 12, 16. Hazing, planning, or organizing.
Oh, got you. Okay, very good. Yeah, I think that's important because something that Mr. Gilmer and I learned by anyway, if it's not explicit, some parents are just going to argue their way all the way through this thing. So maybe, yeah, okay.
Can I stop sharing?
Yes.
So yeah, in sum, I just think that if you're going to link to if you're going to recite a statute and link to it, you should recite the actual definition statutes, the criminal code. I don't know why Lynn says it's, I mean, it probably is sufficient what Lynn wants to do, but I think just as you said, Brian, the more explicit you can be, the better. So why not send them straight to the definitions?
Agreed. You want to craft the motion, Dr. Tejan, on that?
Does anyone have comments on any of the other sections?
Oh, that's right. So parent behavioral expectations. Yeah, I explained that, but thank you. All right, I'll look at that.
But hadn't we already approved everything but the section on hazing?
No, parent behavioral expectations is new as well.
This is new too, okay.
Is there a statute for this one also?
Oh, do you want me to push that back up on the screen? Or do you have it in front of y'all?
I have it open. But you can if that's
Yeah, let me put it back up. I'm sitting here reading it on my.
Are you thinking there is a relevant statute for that, for the parent piece?
There is. There's one about disrupting the flow of an educational institution. It's in some of our other.
So is there a question about whether we need to have a statute attached to it?
So I wouldn't put words in Ms. Baker's mouth, but I think I would agree that if there is a statute on point, since we have references to statutes in all the other sections, that we would have one in this one also. Just because Mr. Gilmer and Dr. Windsor have indicated if it's not explicit, then the parents argue. And now here we are setting expectations for the parents themselves. I think you're going to get a lot of pushback if there's not.
There is in our parent handbook. Let me look for this.
Well, and I only brought it up because Dr. Tejan asked, but I'm like, oh, okay. If there is such a thing, I guess that makes sense.
I had already
Okay,
forgotten that I brought it.
I got it right here, page 55. So it is in our parent handbook, disrupting the flow of an educational organization, and that is ARS 13 colon. Would there be a colon there? That makes sense. 02911. It's already in our handbook, safety and security. The principal of a school campus is the main authority in charge. All persons, including staff, scholars, parents, visitors, are required by law to obey lawful orders from the principal. Failure to do so can be viewed as disruption of an educational institution and could result in criminal action against the person. This law also requires anyone on campus to follow all the set rules and guidelines of the campus, including the surrounding streets and parking lot during school hours. ARS 13 02911.
I guess it doesn't hurt. I mean, I think this is going further around the results, right?
It's making it an official policy. I didn't
Mhm.
put it together that we already had it in the handbook. I forgot about it being in there.
Well, these expectations are broader than just, criminal interference. I mean, this is if it's a statute in Title 13, then it's a criminal statute. So it's probably a misdemeanor for interfering or disrupting. But we also
These-
have,
Sorry.
we want appropriate decorum, right? So you could be
Right.
in violation of this policy even if you're not committing a crime.
Right,
So-
that's true. In fact, Lynn Adams and our attorneys have provided to me letters and wording that I could send to parents or community members who have used vulgarities or aggressive tones to them. What I was missing was this kind of language as an official policy.
Oh.
Are we ready for a motion?
I think so.
Yep.
Okay. I can.
May give this a shot.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay, so Dr. Windsor, if the minutes reflect that the amendments are to the prohibition on hazing section, and then also the approved by Paideia Academy's corporate board at the bottom, put in today's date. And then I would move to adopt the new school safety policy with amendments as discussed.
I second.
Was that Ms. Baker seconding?
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Windsor, yes. Dr. Tejan,
Yes.
Mrs. Mendonça, Mrs. Mendonça,
Yes.
Mrs. Baker,
Yes.
Mrs. Jones.
Yes.
Did I get everybody? Okay. That's everybody. Okay, very good.
Okay, so now we have the cell phone policy.
All right. Did everyone have an opportunity to review?
Yes.
We've really struggled with the cell phone use and abuse over the last 2 years. It's accelerating out of control, even to the point where a student who is upset with the teacher will go to the bathroom and rev up their parent. And then now we didn't even know that call was made, but now I got a parent showing up revved up. So it's become a real challenge. So over the last year, actually almost 2 years ago, I think, Miss Mendonça, Miss Jones, we found this thing called Yonder pouches. And we were looking at it, but it was so expensive. Every year it was a redo of many thousands of dollars. So we just said no. This year they came back and said, hey, it's just a one-time cost. And so that's why we're proposing that we adopt this procedure. And I noticed that there's several school systems around the country right now completely going to a ban on cell phones on the campus.
What's the cost? Can we talk about that?
Sure. The cost is, Mr. Gilmore, do you remember the exact per pouch? 30?
The replacement cost is 30. That's on here.
Sorry, yeah. The replacement cost, I think it was 25 or 30 is what Yonder charged us. to replace the pouches.
Yeah, so that's where we're just using the same cost, not making them having to be a moneymaker.
And I guess it's just the honor system by which the scholars say, oh, yes, I have this phone that I'm going to put in this pouch.
Everyone's
Or
required. So in the system, Mr. Gilmy, would you like to explain the system?
Sure. The way that we've got it set as far as everybody coming in and out of the campus, when they enter the campus through the front door, the scholar would actually be turning off their phone. Um, Technically, Miss Baker, yeah, absolutely. There could be a scholar that says, hey, you know, I just don't have my phone today, and they could be hiding it. That being said, we have upped the demerits, and we now require, well, not now, but we still require a parent to come and get the phone if they do that. So it actually becomes a slightly more severe consequence if they choose to do that. But that being said, they would turn the phone off, slide it into the pouch, and then close the pouch. The pouch would then end up going in their backpack for the day. And then as they leave, we have the devices, the magnetic release devices. We'll have them at the front door with people that are staff members that are at the front door. We'll have them at the front desk, and we will have them at the exits or at the buses, so that when they get on the buses, whoever's at those buses, they can tap the magnetic device. It'll open up the pouch, and the kids can take their phones back out.
Well, it'll just be
So
at the
they'll,
gate. As they leave the gate,
yeah, sorry, thank
they'll
you.
undo it. Then they walk to the bus.
and this is a PLA item. This is a,
PLA.
I'm sorry,
Correct.
PLA
PLA.
only, including the senior academy.
Right.
Correct.
I'm sorry, I'm asking a lot of questions, but I've got several kids on 504 that they have permission to use their phones. So do I need to go back through those 504s and redo those, or?
No, we addressed this with the Yonder folks as well, and they said if there's an exception to that, you just have to closely monitor because it's not going to be very many with that exception.
Same with our EL kids, you know, you let several of them use it to translate.
Actually, I did an experiment with the Chromebook and does the same thing.
Okay, so that's taken care of, and then I can go through and look at the 504s and just see where they stand with that. Most of them were for medical stuff.
You're right, and we addressed that specifically.
Okay.
That was a big concern that we had as well.
So how many of these did you buy? Are you buying?
Up to 300. What we got?
But they don't pay for them, the initial one.
Mm-mm. And then what we'll do is we have one of those like a bag tag, you know, it'll
Like
have
a
their
luggage
name
tag.
on it and like a luggage tag, and that'll indicate that it's theirs, so they don't lose it. Some of the schools have let them write all over it and decorate it. My concern with that is that we have transition, and if they do, it could be, I can't reuse that pouch if somebody's personalized it.
Right.
Sure.
The hope is that their social, their mental and emotional wellness, as they know they can't have access to their phone for those 6 to 7 hours. We've even had phone violations where they're planning events and planning things. We've had to discipline for students have taken pictures of a teacher and Snapchatted that out. And I think we just need a solution that it's just, you can't have it during school.
Yeah, understood. I mean, I don't know, but in my mind, unless you need it to get home, I imagine, I don't know, people would just not bring them because there's like no point in having them then. And maybe that's the behavior that you're trying to drive. And that's why I'm like, oh, I don't know if you need 300 of them if they just stop bringing them. I don't know. Or if they're just going to, sneak them and it's just a matter of getting caught with them.
And they will.
But
They'll try to sneak it in, but I know that 99% of our students have a cell phone.
Yeah.
That's just a reality of our world right now. And so every student, we're going to stop. And if they say, I don't have a cell phone, we're going to contact home and ask the question, Mom, does little Brian not have a cell phone? Yeah, he's got a cell phone. It's like, okay, Brian, come on now. Pouch up, Brian.
And that's probably the secondary thing, just in terms of education with the parents, that, oh, this is the thing, this is the process. So I'm not sure, how you're going to socialize that with them.
Yeah, we'll do this during the orientation meetings, and Yonder's very good about giving us some of those communication pieces to help advertise and make this well known.
Gotcha.
Do you think we'll lose kids over this?
We might, we might, but I've wrestled with that. But I think the trade-off is we lose spirit and we lose by having them on campus. I mean, if Phil and if Mr. Gilmer and I stopped and counted the hours and the problems we've dealt with this year alone over cell phones.
It was the most common issue that we dealt with all year were cell phones.
No, I agree. I'm just wondering.
And if
And
we
I think,
do,
and Beth, I think you're right. I think we might lose some kids to it. But I think the end result and the long term, the end in mind for it is to have the kids more focused and engaged, which hopefully would drive up test scores, which would attract more people. So I don't know. I'm hoping that's kind of the direction that it goes as well.
And make testing easier, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, I was concerned about that at first too, about will we lose students? But I also think that now, reflecting back on some of the comments from students, I think it also causes a lot of anxiety having the phone and the social media.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know who's saying what and all of these things. The anxiety that comes from that, if we can just alleviate that and get rid of it, I think that's actually a good thing.
yeah.
So is there further discussion or more questions, or is there anyone who would like to bring a motion?
I move to
to
adopt.
okay,
No,
there
go
you
ahead, Ms. Baker, go for it.
Oh, okay. No, I move to adopt the student cell phone policy as presented.
I'll second.
All right. Dr. Windsor, yes. Dr. Tejan,
Yes.
Mrs. Baker,
Yes.
Mrs. Mendonça,
Yes.
Mrs. Jones.
Yes.
5, excellent. All right, number 3. Number 3 is our financial policies handbook. It's big, but it'll get bigger. One of the things I need to demonstrate with the audit and just good, it's just good for us because you have fiduciary responsibilities over the operation. So, where is it? Right there. So the financial policies and procedures guidelines, policies, procedures manual, I want you aware of it, that it exists. I want it inside of your toolbox, and once a year we need to review it and approve it. If there is major changes, if there's not, and it's just like some of these little tiny changes like that, then the executive team can just make the changes. But to launch it, because I don't know that we've ever. Do you remember doing this, Dr. Tejan? I don't remember
Yeah,
ever bringing
I
it
think
to
we
the
did
board.
it. We adopted this a couple of years ago, right?
Was it when David was with Davidson? Even back that far?
It says that we approved it on 7/15/2022.
Oh, there we go. All right, we did it. There's been some major updates, so I'm going to go to that one. The major update from the last audit was I needed to include audit policies and procedures. And that's really the major change in this one. So I don't know if you had a chance to go through and look at this one. It comes directly from our auditor, Anthony Lorenzo and Company. He helped me to get the sections, and then I worked with Joel to flesh out the wording.
Yeah, I think the audit policies and procedures are what they are. Like that's not something we can change. You know, the procedures are as however our auditor wants them to be. So
Yeah. For your information, one of the items that we was dinged on, not a major thing, but was a post audit activities that I had not reviewed and compared the financial statements with the audited financial statements. It didn't even cross my mind to do it. And then Anthony Lorenzo, our auditor, pointed out, yeah, you should be doing that. So that's what sparked, like, I don't even have this in our financial policies and procedures handbook, and now we do. And now we have these procedures for post audit. To include training and communication of what we find in the audit and make sure that we're updating and always on track.
So would we be adopting it with the updated audit policies and procedures? Is that
I think so. Yeah,
okay.
I think that'd be good.
Is that the only change, Dr. Windsor? I see under cash management, there's a cash reconciliation form that's highlighted.
It's yellowed.
Yeah.
I see a couple yellow highlights that might just need to be.
Oh, you know what?
maybe.
Those are I went through and highlighted every form because I don't know that I have these forms. So you'll look through and say, and I'm working with Mickey and Rie from Joel's company to make sure that all of them, anything that says a form, that we actually have it. That's why those are highlighted. Yeah, advanced form.
So then you're just going to hyperlink in the forms when you have them.
Actually, I'm going to put them right in the appendices. And those are my reminders. These are the forms I need to do next.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But for your team to actually use them, I think that would probably be, I don't know, useful.
And the problem, one of the problems we have is we have these forms, but I've got 2 or 3 iterations of the same form. And so I'm finding one form and going, wait a minute, this one doesn't match this form. Hold up. So that's why I'm going through all these and making sure that I gather the forms and have an official place for them. Don't go outside of these forms. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a role in here titled business manager.
What page are you on that one?
First appearance is page 13 under capitalization.
We do not have a business. Does it say business manager?
Yep, you just went past it. So right there,
Should be directed to the business manager. It's right, right above asset management policy.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I see it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we do not have that exact role.
it's not necessarily an issue until the last time it shows up where, not last time, looks like page 19, contract approval transmittal states that all contracts are signed by the business manager. Well, you were there, Brian. Yeah.
So are you really just wanting those all to be executive director, or is there some other kind of office person?
Councilman.
I mean, it's presented as a separate role, and my concern is if we're not following our policy and having the business manager sign all the contracts, then we might have an auditing issue. But is it supposed to be the ED that
On our relegation of authority? What's that? You know, the document it says about budget and stuff. It's the executive director, then the board chair on different levels.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's a good finding right there of another thing I need to look at this with a more of a fine-tooth comb.
Well, what's it? There is this roles and responsibilities section, but I don't feel like the business manager is listed there.
What page
That's
is that?
like on page 4. So it's the executive director in the department head.
Oh yeah, an audit.
So whatever roles would be involved in this, in the process would be listed here. So I guess it's been taken out here.
I'm gonna make a note because I'm gonna meet with Mr. Bryce again to review this, and Anthony Lorenzo said I could send it to him at any time and he would review it again for free. Just do it for us. Not to fix anything, because he says he can't do that, but he can just tell us, hey, you need to work on this section.
Yeah.
So are you saying you want to table this item until after that, or you want?
What do y'all think? Am I not ready for this one yet?
I think that if we can get another final look at it, probably, and then so I would move to do we, if we have, I don't know if we have to move or if someone needs to make a motion for this to table this item until after the final review.
Yeah, we would need to vote to table. So I move to table the financial policies and procedures for the revision by the executive team.
Okay, yeah, good. So you're directing the executive team to make those.
Correct.
Okay, I'll second that. Okay. Windsor, yes. Dr. Tejan?
Yes.
Mrs. Baker?
Yes.
Mrs. Mendonça?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. Excellent. Thank you. All right. Number 4 we already did. That was a duplicate.
Yeah. So I think we're on to the next item, item 6. Do we receive any call to the public
There were none.
services? Okay. Then we can move to item 7, executive session. And we can vote to either to go into executive session at this time or. So I think we need a vote to go into executive session at this time. Is there anyone?
So I move to enter an executive session to discuss employment and salary terms.
I'll second.
Okay. Dr. Windsor abstain. Dr. Tejan.
Point of order, Dr. Windsor, I don't think you need to abstain. And I don't
To
think you need to
vote? Go ahead.
recuse. I don't think you need to recuse yourself from this session either. I am not requesting that as part of the motion.
So you're asking me to permit me to go into the executive session with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Everybody have to be okay with that.
That's
Yeah, I
right.
still second that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We don't have to have a
yes.
separate vote about that, do we?
No, I don't
Okay.
think so. It just the law was very fuzzy. Like you may permit the person to enter. Baker, Mrs. Mendonça, Mrs.
Oh, I said
Jones.
yes. Mhm.
Mrs. Baker did, and
Mhm.
Miss Jones.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, Mr. Gilmore, we're going to be gone for a while. You don't have to stay. I love you so much.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gilmer.
Bye, Mr. Gilmer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's hope I get this. Executive session. Assign. 1, 2, 3. I only have Beth. I only have 2, 3, 4. Do I go in automatically?
I think you still have to. Yeah, you can enter it automatically.
Okay, let's see if we go.
Okay, and we're back from executive session, and so we're moving on to item,
Okay.
I believe it's item 7. No, item 8, a discussion and vote for the employment agreement and salary for executive director.
Okay, so the executive director employment agreement having been discussed, I move to approve the presented employment agreement for executive director for the next school year with amendments as discussed in executive session.
I second.
Okay. Writing frantically. Okay. Dr. Windsor recuse. Dr. Tejan.
Yes.
Mrs. Baker.
Yes.
Mrs. Mendonça.
Yes.
Mrs. Jones.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Very good.
Okay, and that takes us to item 9, which is adjournment. We have a motion to adjourn.
To adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 I
Excellent.
Can I
Good job,
can I
guys.
refer to something that was, now that we're adjourned, that was not on the agenda but needs to be done? Or do I have to wait for the next
The other
agenda?
way.
Okay, that's fine.
You could direct us to do something, I suppose.
I can also
No.
send I'm able to send a message though, right?
Yeah, if you put down the
Okay.
bottom, no reply.
An email, yeah, with no reply. Okay, I will do that.